Once you start creating content, it can be really, really tempting to start storing all of your ideas in here and in here and in here. But all of those loose notebooks aren't going to help you organize your content. So today we're talking about how to create a content management system for your videos. Let's get right into it. If you're new here, my name is Liz and I help coaches and consultants add video to their business. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss any of my future content. Now, I used to be one of those people that would have tons of ideas for great content pieces, and then I would write them in notebooks, on loose pieces of paper, on post-it notes. You know what I mean. Many of us just get tempted to grab whatever is lying around and quickly jot down our content idea before we lose it. But once you get into that habit, it becomes really hard to be organized about creating your content. Not only will you find it really difficult to find all of the ideas that you've written down everywhere, but there's no organization to it. You won't be able to track whether you created the content already, what else you can do with that idea, or any of that. So for this reason, it's really important to have some type of a system that is easy for you to use and easy for you to access so that you can store, organize, and plan your content. So today we're not creating an actual content calendar, but I am going to show you how you can organize your content in a way that you can start making videos quickly. Let's jump right into it. Now, I know that many people like to mainly use pen and paper when they are doing their creative work. And I totally understand that because there's a certain flow that you get when you're writing out your ideas into an actual notebook or on a piece of paper. However, when you are trying to organize your content, then it's actually better to rely on some type of an online system. It's absolutely okay to do some of your brainstorming on paper, but then you have to be disciplined enough to get that into the system. This is where most people fall apart. Definitely that was the case with me. I would write everything out in my notebooks, do all my brainstorming, think about my content ideas, different ways I could use that. But then who in the world has the time to transcribe all of that into some other online system? This is when I started to ditch all of these pieces of paper and instead just rely on the online system. That way, I could just open it up quickly anytime I had a new idea pop into my mind. I could just type out, or just on my phone, just type out the thoughts that came to me and it would be sitting there. I would know where to find it later. It wouldn't get lost in a cupboard somewhere in my home. So there is a real advantage to just going straight to the online system. Now there's a couple different tools you can use, and as a quick scroll on Google will show you that there are so many content management systems out there. But one of the things to really keep in mind is that you should pick a system that is super easy for you to use. If you use a system that has a ton of bells and whistles and you are not that savvy with it, you will never find any pleasure in opening it up quickly and using it. Now, I've dabbled with a lot of different systems, right from the simplest of Google Docs and Google Sheets to things like Trello, Asana, Airtable, but actually at this point I have settled on Notion. I really like Asana for a lot of things. It helps you to keep your projects really clear, and I like Trello too. The thing about Airtable is that it feels a little clinical to me. I'm not sure why, but I really like the setup of Notion, because Notion almost feels like your own personal website. The way that you set up things there is very intuitive, and it can be a little bit colorful, but not too much. You can still make it minimalistic, but still have it look aesthetic. The benefit to having a system like that is that you feel like opening it up. It's a pleasure to work within that system. And it doesn't only have to house your content management system. You could practically run a lot of things of your business within one Notion platform. So for this reason, I really gravitate towards Notion. The other thing I want you to consider is that you should really be using a software that has an app associated with it, not just something that you need to always open up your laptop for. This was one of the reasons I was always lugging around these notebooks, because sometimes I would be on the train or a bus and I would have a brilliant idea, and of course my laptop is not with me, so that's when I would pull out my notebook. On the other hand, if you have an app for your software, then you can just pull out your smartphone and just enter it there. It makes things so much easier. Now I'm interrupting this video so that I can remind you to subscribe. I think you should do that first. And if you are ready to get started with video but you don't know how to get started, then be sure to join me at my next free live webinar where I'm going to walk you through some of the steps that you need to take to start your video journey. Just click on the link in the description below and I'll send you the details right away. Now let's get back to our video. Now there's a couple things you need to keep in mind before you actually start using a system. One is you should be able to create some type of a database within that system that you are using. This really helps you to filter and to sort. It's only once you have started creating quite a bit of content that you realize how valuable filtering and sorting is. Without filtering and sorting, you will basically be operating in a table all the time, which means that you will be scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to find things. All the content that you've already posted will be there. The stuff that is in progress will be there. The stuff that you want to work on later but you haven't really shaped it out, that will be there. And the stuff that you've already published will be there. But without filtering and sorting, you won't be able to quickly find the stuff that you need. In order to find anything, you have to keep scrolling and scrolling and look at everything. On the other hand, when you use a system that allows you to create a database where you can filter and sort, within just a couple of clicks, usually less than 2 clicks, you can see all of the content pieces that are in the works, the things that you still need to work on. All of the pieces that you've already published. You can hide all of those so you don't have to keep looking at the stuff that you already published. And then you can take it a step further by sorting that stuff. Which are the content pieces that you are hoping to release in the next couple of weeks? Which are the ones that you've started but you haven't quite finished? It's so valuable when you're able to use those type of features within a database of managing your content. It won't make sense to you until you actually start having a lot of content. Because without that type of feature, it's almost the equivalent of writing things in a big notebook and then having to flip through every single page in there just to find the thing that you want. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Now, a lot of the softwares that I mentioned, like Trello, Asana, Airtable, even Google Sheets, they allow you to enter in quite a bit of information. But one thing I like about Notion is that for every single thing that you create there, you can almost make an entire page about it. So you never run out of space. That's just a neat feature of Notion that I just really like. Not only that, but you can organize things and create different subheadings and subgroupings so that you can continue to organize your content even further. Not only do you just have to put the title of your content piece, but you can also add drop downs into the other columns so that you can choose whether you want that to be an Instagram piece or a Facebook piece or a LinkedIn piece. Or maybe you want to choose a drop down so that you know that that goes out on Mondays or on Thursdays or on Fridays. Or you might say that you want to be able to select whether that piece is going to be great for a live stream or an Instagram post or a Facebook reel, whatever the case is. Being able to add these type of different tagging options really gives you tons of flexibility, and it sets you up for being able to repurpose your content, which is one of the most important pieces of creating content. The problem with all of my notebooks is that I would write an idea there and it would be fine. Maybe if I can find that again, I would actually create a video on that topic. But then what do? 3 months down the road, I'm not going to remember when I look back at that notebook whether I made a live stream about that one day or did I make a post about it, or maybe I made a reel, or maybe I made all 3 of them. This is the thing. Where do you actually record what you've done with that one piece of content? This is where Notion has practically saved my life. I can put the name of the content piece, the platform where I want to release it that first time, the date of when I want to publish it, and all the other ways that I intend on repurposing it. Jump onto my laptop with me so that I can show you what I mean. So we're here on my Notion page, and if you're not sure how to use Notion, be sure to let me know in the comments and I can record a quick tutorial for you. But once you've created a new page in Notion, then it's just as easy as adding a new database to that page, and then you can start creating your content management system. So here I have a new page. I've just titled it Video Content 2023, and then what I would do is click / and then click Type Database. And I like using an inline database. So this will allow you just to make a simple table. And then what we will do is just edit this table so that it can populate with all of the information that we want. So I'll show you how to do that in a bit. In the meantime, let's go down here and have a look at a table that I already created for you. So what you would really want to be doing is have one column where you have all of your content ideas. So in my case, I've written the captions for a lot of these things, and some of them are also ideas. But every single time you get a new idea, you just go to your app or to your laptop, open up this database, click new, and then you type your new content idea here. You type it there. You can just simply type it there if it's just something in a couple of words that has come to your mind. But if you're prepared to even expand on it and just kind of brainstorm a little, even after typing these few words, you can just tap on open and it will allow you to have a full brand new page just so that you can start typing out your ideas. So you can simply start adding your bullet points. And just start jotting out some of your different points that you have. Or if you found a quote or something online that you really want to reference, you can simply just copy and paste that over here. And this gives you ample space. You can open this up into a full screen, and then you can have as much space as you want to type out and fully brainstorm out your idea. So let's go back so that we can see what else we can do with that. Once you've got your idea, just jot it down here. At least you've got the peace of mind of knowing that you're not going to forget about it. It is here and you can come back and find it anytime you want. Now, the way that I've organized these columns is really suited to the type of content that I post. So what you can do is you can label each of these columns for each of the platforms that you use. So I use Instagram, I make reels, and I have these as separate because on Instagram, sometimes I post things that are not reels. So I wanted to just differentiate between normal Instagram posts, reels, I post to Facebook, I post to YouTube, and then I post to LinkedIn. So you can go ahead and change these to whichever are the different platforms you use. And then I added another column to indicate first post. So really just for me, now you don't have to do this, but I just like to quickly look and see what is the date of that first post. There's two reasons for that. One is to hold myself accountable, because as soon as I populate a new idea here, I don't just want to walk off into the sunset. I want to tell myself, you know what, I'm going to commit to posting this at least for the first time on September the 6th. So after I enter that date there, then that gets populated here. And now I know that it's something that I'm going to work towards. The problem with leaving too many things blank here is that if you don't have a date assigned to it, then when will it get done? It's just kind of hanging in the air. So I like to give myself that little bit of accountability. Not only that, but when I scroll through here, I can see that this was first posted on August the 14th, which means now it's been a little bit of time, so I can think about posting it again to another platform. Or this one, for example, was August the 1st. So if this was a long time ago, then I can think about, posting it to some other platform that I haven't already posted it to, and then make use of that content piece again. So let me explain to you in detail what that exactly means. Let's say that I want to post this new content idea for the first time on September the 6th. The next thing that I can do is I can also indicate from this column what that content piece would be best for. So for example, would that be best for, let's look at all the different properties or the different choices we have. Would that content piece be best as a photo or as a normal post or as a live stream? Or would it be good for a YouTube video or a carousel? Or maybe it would be good for a reel or some type of a longer length reel, like a deep dive where you're talking to the camera for a couple minutes. Or maybe you can just create a graphic and just have it as a quote if it's something that you've found in a book or that you're quoting from somewhere. So these are all of the choices that I've put in. If you have more ideas than this, then you can simply tap this plus symbol and then add in some more of your choices. But the thing about doing that is that it adds another layer of action taking. You're not only just dropping the content idea in, but you're taking it a step further and asking yourself, which way would my audience really like to ingest that content? So let's say that I decide that that new content idea would be really good as a carousel post. I can simply just choose that, and now that's there. So when I'm scrolling through this database later, I can see that on September 6th, I am really hoping to post this carousel on this topic. And a carousel post you can post in a couple different places. So I might choose to post it to Facebook, or Instagram is where it actually really works well, or I might even do it to LinkedIn. So later, when I am ready to start creating some of the content, I can create this, I can schedule it, and then I can come back here and check off that I have sent it to be published on September the 6th to Instagram. And now I'm not going to lose track of this or forget about it. The beauty of this is now later, as I'm scrolling through this table, I can see, oh, here's a content idea that I only posted one time, and it still has much opportunity to get some traction if I post it somewhere else too. So let me take the same content idea. I'm going to open it up. I'm going to review what were my different points about it and just kind of tweak it in some way for a new audience. And I'm going to post it to LinkedIn. If you want, you could potentially add another column here mentioning when is your second post. If you want to make it a little bit more robust, you can absolutely do that. But I sometimes don't get that detailed around it. I just want to know when is my first post going to be. And then from that point on, I can post it anywhere else that I like. So I find this such a super handy and easy way of going about my different content organization. So now let's talk for a minute about sorting. So you can come up here and click sort, and then you can sort by any of these different columns. And it depends on what your purpose is for sorting. You might want to sort by all of the posts that you've already done for Instagram, just so that you know what you have left, for example. So if I click on Instagram, it'll sort by ascending. Let's change that to descending. And now I can see that I have already posted all these content ideas on Instagram because it's checked off there. So that means none of these content ideas yet have gone to Instagram. So I can see some opportunities here. If none of those have been posted to Instagram already, then I can absolutely go and create them and repurpose them like that. That's one thing you can do for sorting. Or let's say that, let's delete this sort, and then let's sort it instead by best for. So if I sort by best for, what it's going to do is just kind of organize it here and show me which ways are these different content pieces best for. Now, why would I want to know that? Let's say that I'm sitting down and I have 2 hours handy and I want to make some content. And I've decided I'm going to just batch create a bunch of carousel posts. If I sort like this, I can see all of the different content ideas that I intend to make carousels around, and then I can just sit down and make them. Everything is here. I don't have to lose track of it. I can publish it and then I can check off that I've done that. Or let's say that next I'm sitting down to work on some content and I want to do a live stream later on today. I can sort by best for, find all the topics that I've decided would be good for a live stream. And then if I haven't already done one of them, I can just do one and then that will be done. You can see how some here don't have any best for indicated. So that means I have an opportunity to look at these content pieces one more time and just say to myself, okay, would this be good for a graphic? Maybe this would be good for YouTube, as I've indicated. Maybe this would be good for just a quote. You know, there's all sorts of ways that you can just sort according to the best use for yourself. So let's delete these sorts and then let's look at filtering, which is another really handy tool. When we filter, let's click that again. We can again filter by all of these different column headings. But the thing about filtering is it allows you to just see the stuff you want to see and then not see the other stuff. So it is almost like sorting, but the only difference is when you sort, you see everything. It's just been organized the way that you asked. But when you filter, then that means you don't have to see everything, which is also kind of handy because as this table starts getting bigger and bigger, maybe you don't want to see hundreds and hundreds of rows and you just want to see the stuff that you are specifically looking for. So let's say, for example, I want to filter by the first post. That means I can choose by all of the posts that I have already assigned a date for this week. That's the one that it just defaulted to. So let's stick with that one. So if we click out of here, then I can see that these are the different content ideas that I have already said that I am going to try to do this week. That's one way of filtering. Or let's delete this one first. Oops. Let's delete filter. Let's say that you want to filter by Instagram. So when we do that, we get another option here where we can either choose to see all the Instagrams that are checked or unchecked. So let's say I want to see what are all the remaining Instagram posts that I could be making. In that case, I'm going to choose all the ones that are unchecked because those are the ones that I haven't done yet. So let's do that. So now this entire table only shows me the different content pieces that I have not yet posted to Instagram. So that is super handy. I don't have to scroll through hundreds and hundreds of rows and ask myself each time, okay, did this go to Instagram yet or did it not go to Instagram yet? So in just a couple of clicks, I can do that. I find that super, super handy. One way that I really like to filter actually is by reel, because I like to batch create my reels. So let's say that I'm sitting down on an afternoon and I have an hour of free time and I want to create a couple reels. I can come here, filter by reel, and I can choose to see all the unchecked ones because those are the ones I haven't done yet. And now it has shown me that. So that means every content piece on this list is one that I have not yet made a reel about. Now, in some cases, I can see that I've already specified that I want to make a reel out of it. So those become even no-brainers. But there's others where I didn't even specify that they would be good for a reel, but I have an opportunity at least to just look at this one more time without losing track of the idea and ask myself, okay, is this a topic that I can make a reel about? Is this a topic I can make a reel about? And now I've got all of them in front of me. So that means with my hour of free time, I don't have to go digging all through my papers trying to figure out what I want to make a reel about. I can just pick 4 of them and then just sit down, open up the notes on it, see what are the different thoughts I had on that topic, and then just sit down and make my reel. So this becomes considerably easier when you have an organizational system like this. So again, if you're not familiar with how to use Notion, be sure to let me know in the comments so that I can record a tutorial about that. But otherwise, I would be delighted to share this template with you, which means that you can look for the link for this in the description of this YouTube video. And then you can simply click on it. And then at the top of your Notion page, open up your own Notion. At the top of your Notion page, you will see a little button at the top somewhere that says duplicate. So just duplicate that for yourself and you will get this entire database yourself. I'm going to clear all this content so that you don't have to waste your time deleting it, but you will have all of these columns and everything already ready to go, and then you can just adjust it for your own uses. Hope that helps. Now remember, if you're not prepared to jump into a system like Notion and you want to take it a little bit easy in the first place, you can use Google Sheets. The one thing about Google Sheets is you're kind of limited as to how much you can actually type there without it becoming crazy. But jump back onto my computer with me so I can show you how a simple table that can be filtered and sorted can just help you to get started with organizing your content. Now, if you want to manage your video content just using Google Sheets, you can absolutely do that. It's not quite as robust the way that I've set it up as compared to the Notion template that I just shared with you. But you can actually use all sorts of other filtering methods on Google Sheets as well, if you know how to do that. Because using the data and the tools features here, you can create filters for yourself so that you can just see some of the information the same way that we were looking at it specifically on the Notion template. But let me walk you through this. Now, this is actually a quarterly calendar, which means here we've got weeks 1, 2, 3, 4, and sometimes there's a 5th week for month 1. And then similarly, again, we have this for month 2 and then for month 3. So you can use this for 3 months at a time, and then you can just duplicate it or delete it. So what I would encourage you to do is first save a couple copies of the blank template and then start using them and rename them. So here what we're doing is we have all the content that we can populate in this space for week 1 of month 1, Monday, Tuesday, all the way to Sunday. Here, what you're going to come in and type is what platform you intend on posting your content to that day. So let's say Instagram. What is the format of that? Maybe I want to do a reel. And then what is the topic of that? I'm going to type my topic here. And if I'm prepared to type my caption, I can start even typing it here. So with captions and stuff, if it's a little bit lengthier, then you would just have to format that text so that it just wraps the right way. without just typing straight across. I'm sure you know what I mean if you're used to using Google Sheets. So you can type that, you can store your hashtags, and here you can indicate for yourself how you would like to repurpose that. Maybe you want to take that same reel one day and turn it into a TikTok, since it's easy to use one vertical video for another vertical format. So here you write TikTok. So similarly, you can just populate whatever areas of this you like. So what this really means is that when you have a different content idea that just comes to your mind, you would open up this sheet, you would find this topic row, and you would just populate in that content idea that you have somewhere. So populate it in somewhere according to how it is that you want to create your content. If you've decided that every single Tuesday you want to release a new YouTube video and you think that content idea would be good for that, then certainly find a Tuesday and then just drop in that idea before you lose it. On the other hand, if you think that that might be good for a reel, then pick a day that you would be willing to make a reel and then drop it in there. So you do have to do a little bit of planning and thinking around that. But at least once you've stored it here, you can simply just come and find it later. There might be other instances where you don't really know what you want to make that content into, but you just want to store it somewhere. So if that's the case, then simply just come and type your idea here. And then maybe you can just use a simple system like just coloring in that cell with some color that makes sense to you, so that when you go back and you scroll through this sheet, you know that the ones that are highlighted like that are the ones where you haven't decided yet what you want to do with it. Do you want it to be an Instagram post or a reel, or do you want it to be something for Pinterest, or what do you want to do? At least you won't lose track of it. It'll be here on this page and then you can move it around later. Some of you I know like to have the same type of content format on certain days. For example, every Monday you might want to do a live stream. Every Tuesday a YouTube. Every Wednesday you might do a webinar. Maybe on Thursdays you do an Instagram deep dive video, and then on Fridays you do a reel. If you've got a system set up like that for yourself, then again, you can come and just brainstorm your topic idea and drop it into whichever slot seems to make sense. If it doesn't really take shape yet, just drop it in somewhere so that you don't lose track of it, and then just highlight it. Similarly, another thing you can do is open up another tab, create another tab here in your Google Sheets just for your ideas that are just taking shape. So you could also take this idea here, put it onto that extra tab, and then you'll have a list of ideas that are just in progress that you haven't really figured out what to do with. That's another way of doing it. So everything really depends on how you like to organize yourself, how your brain works, what you like to see. I know for me, definitely, if things are in multiple places, then sometimes they're just kind of out of sight, out of mind. However, if I keep everything kind of in front of me, at least I can move it around from that point. If I drop this here and later I say to myself, okay, you know what? This idea would actually really be good as a deep dive video. Then I can simply just take this cell and then drag it over to a place where I know that I'm going to be doing a deep dive and just drop it, like here, for example, or even here. And then it's done, and there it is. And then I can remove that highlighting. Let's remove that. So this is no longer a topic that is kind of, not having a home. It's basically slotted in here, and then I will just get that done at that time. So this is another way that you can organize your content. If you're not really ready to go for a program like Asana or Trello or Notion or Airtable, then definitely start with Google Sheets if you find that this is easy for you to understand. And if you look in the description below, I will also link this same I will also link this same Google Sheet there so that you can make use of it and store it for yourself. Okay, let's head back to our video. Now, as a video coach, I always tell my clients and my students that every single video that you make has the potential to be remade and tweaked umpteen number of times. Just because you put out a piece of content one time doesn't mean that it has expired from that point and you can never go back to it. You can create different types of videos about that same content. You can create other formats of content about that first video. So this means if you're not setting yourself up with a system where you can actually check what are the content ideas you've come up with, in order to ask yourself, how else can I use this? What other type of videos can I make? What dates can I publish them? What strategy and what content pillar does it connect to? Then you are really, really missing out on opportunities. Now, this concept really hit me hard about 2 years ago, one day when I was just tidying around this studio. I bumped into a piece of paper that I haven't seen in months. It was sitting buried somewhere inside a shelf, and I pulled it out, and there was 4 or 5 content ideas that I loved. They were so interesting, and I had scribbled them down on a piece of paper some time ago and thrown it into that shelf. So when I saw that, I thought, wow, I had completely forgotten about it, for one thing. If I hadn't tidied up the shelf, I never would have seen it again. I would have missed an opportunity to talk about all of those different topics in other ways. And of course, when you don't put out content that's really useful, then it's your audience that's actually missing out on the value from that. So I became so frustrated and annoyed with myself that I had completely lost track of different content ideas. But that would not have happened if I had a system for it where it was all stored. You will never lose things when it's stored in a system. You can just keep adding to it, making your content library, going back to content ideas that you had a year ago that might still be relevant for your audience, and then continue to tweak and use that again. So if this video has given you some insight as to how you can organize your content, be sure to give it a like and share it off with one of your friends. Don't forget to subscribe, because every single Tuesday, I bring you a new video teaching you how you can add video to your business. So until next time, take care.